All right, welcome back everybody to another trading day. We're trading the NQ using the footprint chart on the 1 minute chart. Again, I have my Hola Prime 50k challenge account. We are about $900 away from passing this account. We've traded it for 2 days, taken only a few trades on it, and so far so good. So let's see if we can get this passed. Again, what am I looking for? Always first thing before you do anything, you need to look at the market conditions. Actually, in fact, look at the news as well. I've already had a look. But yeah, always look at, any market news coming out. But always check the market conditions since, pre-market and on the open. And as you can see on the open, we are going down. So generally, I'm going to be looking for more shorts. However, doesn't necessarily mean I won't be taking longs, okay? Because it all depends on how the sell volume is reacting right now. If the sellers are still coming in strong, which, like for example, right there, that 108, nice big batch of fresh sell volume coming in strong, managed to push it down. If we kind of get back into this area and we see sellers coming in again, not a bad idea, which we're literally just about back in, right? Not a bad idea to short the market, right? So, but you're seeing at this moment in time, you're not seeing really any sellers coming in. If anything, sellers are actually getting stopped out. Look at that. Those sellers who came in are actually getting stopped out of the market, okay? So definitely not ready for a short just yet. However, sellers might want to step in again, okay? But right now, just looking at the volume, yeah, these buyers just wiped out some of those sellers. Now, does that mean go in for a buy? Absolutely not. You've kind of missed a move, right? Okay, but what we can do is keep analyzing it and wait for a right opportunity. Always be open to take short or longs as a scalper. You shouldn't be too afraid to, oh, there was a big chunk of sellers that came in. We were at 100, back down to like 30. Let's see how we react in that area. If we react quite well and we start pushing down a bit and sellers start coming in heavy, we could have a short position here. So we're seeing some sellers trickling in 60, but we're not really moving. That's kind of in drawdown at the moment. We want to get below, but we're not. As you can see, we're just not really getting below there yet. But it's starting to look a little bit better. Let's see if sellers can add on a bit more pressure. But they're not being very efficient. They're not doing really well. It's just not happening. You saw it in real time. It's just not happening. They came in. They did everything correctly. On that 50 there, that was plus 100, and then it dropped instantly to negative, to 30, meaning, at least 70 or so sellers came in fresh. And then some sellers tried to trickle in, but they just weren't really doing much. And we had some more sellers get stopped out now at the top here. So let's see what happens. Let's see if buyers are still willing. If we want to take a short, we need to see buyers kind of lay off the gas or get trapped, right? So we're seeing some buyers now coming in 40. We want to get below these buyers and then post heavy sell volume below them. If we can do that, I'll go in for a short. So we're kind of below them. Can the sellers, however, post heavy volume? That's the big question right now. They're trickling it down, but they're not really. There was a nice big chunk of sellers. Right, real quick, we're going to put a stop just above. Okay, so I've gone in short. Now I want to see, some continuation, and then I can potentially add more to my position. But this is looking quite nice. Now I want to see those sellers keep this momentum. I am going to have my finger on the exit, just in case buyers start coming, because these buyers were very efficient at pushing the market up. Okay, there we go. Some more sellers trickling in, but they're not that strong. 20. Stay below those buyers. We might even be able to add another position in a second, but I don't like how we're squeezed at the bottom, this 56. I don't like it, and I don't like these heavy buyers potentially coming in. So if we can get below those buyers again, stay below and post more volume and move, then yeah, absolutely, I'll add another position. But this is quite an important area right now. It looks like sellers are coming in. All right, we added another position at our stop. Oh, those buyers are still coming in heavy. Oh, that's not what I wanted to see. Truth be told, I did not want to see those buyers come in too heavy and push that market up. But as long as we can get below them and stay below them, squeeze them out, we've got a trade here. Otherwise, I will be exiting because it looks like those buyers are actually doing it. Yeah. Okay, well, this looks like maybe I might have to get out here. I'm going to give the sellers one last chance to come in at the top here. But if they can't, I have to get out of this trade. And then we're going to jump in again on a better position. There's some sellers, all right. We might be saved here. We might be okay still. That might have just been a momentary lapse. But let's see if those sellers can keep coming in. If they start getting absorbed at the bottom here, we need to cut this trade, all right. Wouldn't be bad. We're at basically flat, -90, something like that. Nothing too massive. Yeah, it looks like the sellers are getting potentially a little bit squeezed. This is not looking great, truth be told. Those buyers, I want to see get below those buyers. I want to squeeze them out. Come on, squeeze out that 131 buyers. There we go. Get a bit more pressure in there. We need to get below these big buyers, right? Properly below them and break. Where are their stops? Well, we know where their stops are going to be. Probably here. We need to get there to have some level of safety. And I think we're just about to maybe make it now. If sellers can add a bit more size here, we've got this. Come on, sellers. Add a little bit more size and we get a pop. Oh, come on. Where are these sellers? They're just not adding right now. -5 buyers are adding up 30, but they're less efficient, which is good. But we need to keep below them. That's not what I want to see, truth be told. I really don't want to see that. That does not look good for me. Come on, sellers. We're just going sideways right now, so it's not the end of the world. We can still, battle it back down. Come on. They're the sellers. So sellers, notice how sellers are willing to trade at the highs. They're not really, when we get down to these lows, they kind of lay off the gas, right? They're not willing to kind of come in hard. So I'm going to give them this one last candle now to trade heavy at the bottom. So we're at 15, 12. I need to see big numbers come in. 10. They're still not trading at the bottom. We'll never break that low unless they are willing to put on size near the bottom. If they're not willing to do that, we're not going to break it. There's a bit more size, 20. Come on, a little bit more. They're getting a little bit more ballsy now. We're almost up to 30. Give us like a 70 or so, and then we should be able to break that. If sellers can, post maybe 40, 50, 60 contracts at the bottom here, we should be able to break it. But again, they're getting a little bit. Come on, there's a 30. We're almost there. I think they might be able to do it. Buyers are coming in heavy. Get below those buyers. I literally got my finger ready to exit because any second, if I see too many buyers come in, I'm getting out of this trade. We're scratching it. Because I've kind of lost faith a little bit, but we're so close to potentially squeezing out these buyers. I'm holding it. I just need to see any second now. We need to see sellers come in hard. There's a big chunk. See that 40? Soon as we post a bit of volume, we're able to take that low. But we got to keep that momentum up. Otherwise, buyers just buy the bottom. All right? We haven't stopped out the buyers yet. They're still not out. You can see that the sell volume didn't spike massively, meaning buyers are still in this market. We need to push a little bit lower. And then somewhere down here, any second now, we should see buyers get stopped out. They're still in the markets, believe it or not. There they are. Oh, instantly buyers bought the bottom. Let's see. I think buyers might try and reverse this. I've got my finger on the exit because we went from -100 to +14. There's a big buy order came in. If we can get below that 14 on the buy side, we've got a very nice trade. There it is. Beautiful. We've got this. I think sellers have got this now. Yeah, we got it. As soon as we get below that 14, we should stop out some of those buyers that came in. Keep that momentum up. Although sell volume is quite low, we need to see a bit more to keep that momentum up. There it is. Beautiful. Keep going. Got my finger on that exit. Let's see if we can touch those lows again. It's still a little dodgy, but it's okay. Sellers are coming in. There we go. Let's get that extension. When we hit $1,000, but then there's a lot of buyers getting stopped out. That 130 we saw. That's a lot of buyers getting stopped out. Let's keep that momentum up. If we see any kind of retracement, we're out. We don't want, that's it. Beautiful. Let's really break that low. Really take that. Take out the low. There we go. Beautiful. And we've hit our 1,000, so we'll take the money. That is our trade. So we have officially passed the challenge account because the profit is 3K, right? So we've made it. We've made $921 on today. Very, very simple. So notice this was actually a really interesting one, right? This was a really cool trade because I lost faith around this area here. I started losing a little bit of faith in my trade, right? And I was very, very almost about to exit. But it was these sellers who came in at the tops who were willing to kind of trade a little bit at the top. That kind of kept my faith in it. And then once we broke that low and we saw a little bit of volume starting, excuse me, we saw a little bit of sell volume starting to come in with bigger numbers. It was okay. And then there was one more area, one more time where, this was dangerous and this could have flipped very quickly. And it was this right here. Now, right now, it doesn't look like much. Look at, by the way, guys, look at that. Look at all those buyers getting stopped out. That 231, right below that low, all the buyers, all their stop losses getting triggered. Buyers are out the market, right? But you know, buyers just want to buy it back again. All right, they got stopped out. They're coming back in again at the lows. Makes sense, right? So sellers, in order to really get an extension, sellers need to be able to post volume bigger than the buyers and be willing to trade at the lows. It doesn't happen every time, right? A lot of people don't want to trade at the low. People want to trade at the highs, right? They want to short at the highs, buy at the lows. Makes sense, right? So, but until, you know, like these sellers right here, these are the guys who are going to create the breakout because look at them. They're posting volume near the lows. So if they can keep posting more volume and get a bit more efficiency, actually move the market in their direction a bit, yeah, we're breaking these lows and we've got an extension down. But going back to the trade that we just took, right? Where was it? Here it was. So this 14 was actually make or break, believe it or not, right? It doesn't look like much right now, but if you look back on the recording, right? This was negative. Let me get my pen out. Negative, I think it was like negative 100 plus, right? Maybe a negative 130, something like that. But the delta was negative at least 100. And then instantly, in a second, in a flash, right? It went from negative 100 to plus, I can't remember the exact number, but plus something, maybe plus 30. I don't know if I'm quoting the numbers correctly exactly, but you will see in the recording what it went to. But nonetheless, it jumped instantly, right? It went from negative 100 to like plus 30, indicating at least 100 plus buyers or one individual buyer, right? Some big institution came in heavy, right? And just bought a big chunk, right? At the bottom, trying to get this market up. So this was make or break. Now, they could have got the market up. This is the thing. When that happened, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to go up or continue going down. It's very hard to know in that moment, right? So you don't want to chase that volume necessarily because you want to see how efficient that volume is, right? Now, if those buyers, that buyer who came in, if they did make a bullish candle or actually move the market up and potentially take out the high of this candle and then keep posting more buy volume, oh yeah, flip all day long. That's it. Flip it. You know, get out for your short, get in for a buy and ride it up, right? But that didn't happen. Instead, what happened was we got below those buyers, right? And we stopped them out, right? We stopped them out. That's most likely that buyer who came in, their stop loss right there, right? That's most likely them. Okay, we stopped them out. We got below and squeezed them out the market. And the moment we got below and they started getting nervous, that buyer, because naturally, imagine you just placed 100 contracts into the market. That's a big amount of money, right? These are E-minis. This isn't the MNQ. This is the NQ, so the full E-mini, right? Imagine you place that in the market and the market instantly you're in drawdown. Oof, you're going to be nervous, right? You're going to be like, ah, shit. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, your stop is going to get hit. And, yeah, you're not going to add more onto that position, right? Once you're in drawdown like that, it's very unlikely you're going to start buying even more and more and more. You're going to kind of be like, all right, look, probably not a good idea, right? And that's essentially what happened. So that was make or break for this trade. And how many times have you seen, and you see that happen quite often, because people want to buy at favorable prices. And what do I mean by favorable prices? Well, whenever you're in a range, and that's essentially what we had here. Yes, it was only like 5 minutes or so, but this is a range, right? It's a form of accumulation, right? People only want to buy at favorable prices, meaning, generally speaking, buyers want to buy at the bottom, right? Because, you know, you want to buy at the bottom of a range, right? You want to buy at the bottom. So once we break out slightly on the range and a lot of buyers are out the market, getting stopped out or whatever, a lot of buyers will take the opportunity of, oh, this is a discount. Now, whether it's an algorithm doing it, whether it's a human being, doesn't actually matter, right? But it's the logic that matters, okay? I can't tell you if that was a human being or an algorithm. It could be either, I don't know. But nonetheless, you know, it happened, right? It was, the price was seen as a discount. They went in hard, hoping to kind of get the market back up. And how many times do you see that happen in a range? You'll have like a very tight range, nice, 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 and the market will just poke in one direction and instantly reverse. Why do you think that happens? And now people will say, oh, it's a stop hunt and all this. It's got nothing to do with institution looking at retail traders' stop losses and going, oh, let's take their pennies, right? Because that's not what's happening. What's happening is prices went to favorable prices, right? Price got favorable for someone to place a big order. That's it. That's literally all it is, right? It is, you know, at just below this low, it's a favorable time to buy, right? We were in a tight range, prices at discount, buy, right? And that's all that happened. Okay, so that's why you see that pattern occur so often in the market, right? Where people call it fake outs or whatever, right? Where you have a range and it just pokes in one direction and instantly reverses. It's not manipulation, nothing like that. It's literally just logic. That's all it is, right? It's a favorable price. Place your orders. Okay, that's it. And sometimes it works out for them. You know, it could have very easily worked out for this buyer if sellers were not absorbing them. If sellers didn't come in and just kind of weren't really happy to short at the lows, guess what would have happened? The market would have shot up, right? That's it. That's what would have happened, okay? At this moment in time, there was no way of knowing what's going to happen next, okay? It was really this candle that kind of confirmed what will happen next, okay? So, because like I said, you know, sellers need to be able to short at unfavorable prices. So in order for this market to continue going down, especially once you had a big buyer come in trying to get this market up, sellers need to be willing to sell at unfavorable prices. And what is an unfavorable price for a seller? At the low of a range, right? So that's what's needed to occur. It did occur. We got lucky. And we were able to hold this trade and make some decent profit, right? But say sellers weren't willing to come in and we rose above, I wouldn't have held. I would have got out of that trade instantly, right? And I probably would have got out near enough break even, maybe a little bit in profit around here somewhere, whatever. But either way, I would have got out of the market, right? And be like, all right, fine, it's a scratch trade. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? You can't force the market to do anything. You can only react to what is happening candle per candle. And every candle has a story. The market is a story. And as long as you can read that story effectively and efficiently, you can make good decisions in the market. You'll know when to get out of a trade when it's not working out. You'll know when to hold a trade when it is working out. You'll know when to, You're not always going to get the perfect entry because it's hard to get that kind of super sniper entry always. But nonetheless, my entry wasn't terrible. I was in a tiny bit of drawdown for a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I think my drawdown maybe peaked at like $200, $300. But, you know, it's nothing major. And if I got stopped out, I probably would have lost 600. All right, no big deal. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Hopefully, you know, ideally, in an ideal world, you would be able to see, oh, look, sellers aren't coming in at the tops. Buyers are now starting to trade at unfavorable prices. They're starting to get aggressive at the highs. I'm probably about to get stopped out. You might as well take your money, get out. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, save yourself that extra few $100s or whatever. Just get out. It's not a big deal, okay? And then the cycle just continues over and over and over again. So, yeah, we did break that low nicely, and we got an extension. So, you know, again, and remember when I said it's these guys here who are willing to short near the lows that's going to create that extension down, right? If they're not willing to short, if sellers weren't willing to come in fresh, right, we wouldn't have got an extension. Buyers would have bought the low and they would have just pushed the market up, right? And don't get me wrong, sellers might come in around here or something and start shorting it and then it can go back down again. But nonetheless, in that moment, in the next few candles, you wouldn't have broken the low. Do you know what I mean? So it is literally a domino effect, right? The market is a domino effect. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is, you know, it's not like magic or something where, you know, oh, if you see this one little thing, guaranteed it's going to go there and it has to do this. It doesn't have to do anything. It's literally a domino effect, right? And as long as the dominoes, you know, fall in line, yeah, you got to trade. But if you see one domino, it's not falling and it's not happening, get out. It's not happening yet. You can't force it to happen. It won't happen. It's fine. Wait for the next opportunity. There's always an opportunity very, very quickly in the market, especially as a scalper. Now, also, I want to show, okay, the account statistics. So I have just passed this account, okay? It's a 50K futures account. And you can see, you know, the results. So if you also want an Hola Prime account, obviously, full disclosure, I do work for Hola Prime. But if you do want an account with us, go ahead. The link is in the description. Really, really cool. So it shows you basically, you know, all your stats and everything. So you can see the current week. First day on Wednesday when we started the account, made 1,000, made another 1,000, and, you know, the profit target is $3,000, right? But you can also see, if I go to stats and history, you can see the actual stats, right? So the average risk reward was 1.2. Maybe I want to bump that up a bit. Average winning trades, $410. Average losing, 334. Trade expectancy, you know, how many trades I've lost. How many trades I've taken. The win rate, 73%. Loss rate, best trade, worst trade, long wins, etc., etc. Okay. And you can see the, what you can also do as well, which is really cool, you can also compare yourself with Hola Prime's top traders. So Stephen is our top trader. So if you want to know, like, what's your win rate compared to the top trader in Hola Prime, Stephen, you can see, obviously, we only have 3 days of data of me, but you can see my win rate is 70. So I'm dark blue. Stephen is light blue. You can see he's, you know, slightly better. His win rate, I was at 63%, he was at 71, he was at 71, I was at 69, and then today he was at 71, I was at 73. So you can kind of, you know, compare your stats with the best, right? The best within Hola Prime, and you can kind of see, you know, where you're, how, you know, you can just kind of compare and know how good you are as a trader in comparison, which I find is really useful because sometimes, you know, people will see like a win rate of 70% and be like, oh, that doesn't sound like much. But it actually is. It's a very good win rate, right? Okay. The best performing traders within Hola Prime, you know, have similar win rates. Okay. So don't try and target a 90% win rate. Don't try and make yourself, you know, go crazy trying to get the highest win rate possible because, you know, well, if the very best are doing about 70%, and I'm at, you know, maybe 65 or something, I'm actually not that bad. I'm outperforming, do you know what I mean? The mass majority. It kind of gives you an idea. And last but not least, if once you obviously do pass, you get a certificate. If you share this certificate, okay, on Instagram and Twitter, okay, or X, sorry, within 24 hours of getting the certificates of passing, okay, and you tag Hola Prime account, you will get a 3% bonus on your first payout. Okay, so every little helps. If you already have an Instagram and Twitter, you want to share your certificate of the world, tag us, tag our account, include a few hashtags, prop trading, forex trading, 1 hour payouts, whatever it might be, and you'll get instantly 3% bonus on your first payout. So why not, right? Extra money in your pocket. So guys, link is in the description. Go ahead, pick yourself up an account. We've got some great accounts and really, really good discount codes. Now, if my discount code doesn't work in the description, because depending on when you view it, there's always a good discount code out there. Join our Discord as well. We always have great Discord discounts in Discord. So yeah, grab yourself a really good prop account. Learn from these videos. Learn how I break down the market. Put it in a prop account. Look, 3 days, we're already past, okay? You don't have to pass it all together. Nice and slow, take it easy. 3 days, we're already past. Now we can trade that account into profitability, all right? And we can actually get payouts, etc. Okay, another 3 to 5 days, another week of trading. If you average around $1,000, hey, it's not bad money. Do you know what I mean? So literally a 50K account is more than enough that if you treat it correctly, if you trade it correctly, you can go very far with that account, okay? Now imagine if you have 500K max allocation capital, and then you can start doing the numbers in your head and you realize, right, if I'm disciplined and I trade correctly, there's a lot of money to be made in trading, okay? It's all about gaining larger capital and being realistic with your returns. So guys, thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the weekend. I will release a video on the weekend about volume profile. Try to get that done. But yeah, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys very soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.